I'm doing a job again. I wasn't happy with the shape of the back wings, so I took this off and I'm starting again. And if I was doing this again, I'd try and avoid this. When you bend it around the corner, it will collapse and you can't do much about that. But I think what I would do is maybe stuff some wire wool down the hole, maybe to sort of here, and then pour some molten lead in before I start to bend it, and I think that would solve that problem. But now I've got it off, I can put some lead onto this and build that up, which of course I couldn't do when it was on the car, because I've sealed this to the car with some tiger seal. So I'll fill that up and then I can get it back on the car. That's all the goo off, and while it's off it will give me a chance to sand these down, these little dots here. You're not going to see that, are you? There we are, little dot. That's where the drill bursts through when drilling it from the other side. It'll be a lot easier to sand those off now, and hopefully I'll be able to reuse the old pop rivet holes. Of course the rivets are still inside because the end's crushed and they won't come out, but I don't think that will rattle at all. They'll wedge themselves up somewhere. So I'll just see if I can flatten that a little that way, because it just goes a little bit wide, doesn't it? I'll see if I can improve that before I lead it. Let's see if this will tap down a little bit. I'm just going to make it a little bit narrower at that bend. I think that's a little bit better. That's okay. I don't want to bash it too much because that'll change the shape of the curve. So, lead time. This has separated a bit, I don't know if that's important. Let's mix it up a bit. And hopefully, because this is copper, let's do the other end while I'm on. This should go really easily. That's the theory. Of course that's tinned really quite well. I'll just wash that off. Nearly lost it there. That's plenty on there, which will give me something to file off. Try that. I think part of the trick is to learn when to stop messing with it. I've got a few of these, different shapes. Very handy for this sort of stuff. Trying to hold it's the trick, it's quite fragile. I'm going to have to do this off camera. There we are, that's pretty good. Good improvement. So let's see if the popper of it still line up. Jobs for today. This is the piece that goes behind the back seat on the ledge there, which I think is just an access cover to get to the shocks and so on. But every screw hole is buggered on that. A simple panel, just one little lip return there. I'm going to make this a little bit longer. That face is forward, this face. I'm going to make this end a little bit longer, because I had a petrol driven heater on that shelf, which I'm not reinstalling. It had a spark plug in it and it was teed off the petrol tank, and I didn't really fancy that just behind my head. But anyway, there's some holes here which I'll try and cut a picture in now. So if everything's worked, there should be a picture of the holes that were left, which I'm just going to cover up with this plate. A little bit of history of the car retained there, and a picture of the heater. So that's that job, fairly straightforward. And then I'm going to look at this panel here, which I think just on the SEs this is aluminium covered, this wooden panel. I can't remember what I was saying now. Anyway, this panel here, yes, on the SE they're covered in aluminium, and I think this is the original, though it wasn't fitted, it was ripped off its hinges. I think there should be a tab here to pull it up, and that isn't there, so you can see evidence of somebody with a screwdriver lifting it up, which I don't mind that, bit of history again. So cover that in wood. Or plywood. Doesn't quite fit here anymore. This panel's new. It must have moved over slightly. I'm 2 or 3 mils short, or too long there. I've got some new hinges. And these are hinges, these were just flap hinges that I've modified. So I've trimmed off this bit and I've straightened out a bend. I think I did I? Can't remember now. Anyway, put this extra bend in it here, or whatever I've done, I can't remember. And I've got these, I call them spike nuts. These are metric, but these are definitely used under these little catches. I'm not sure about the hinges because all that is missing, but I think they are. So, let's get on with those. So I've just marked a line where I think it should be, and I'll use this as a pattern to cut my ply. I start marking it now. I bought an 8x4 sheet of 9mm ply, and I got the timber yard to cut it down into rough sizes for me. And out of that sheet you can get enough for this panel, the floorboards, the rear parcel shelf, and that rear door on the parcel shelf. And by accident this grain is running in the same direction as the original panel, so that should be right. Of course, cutting it on their saw, I got a nice square edge on 2 sides, so I'll just mark these out, and I think I'm gonna hinge it all before I think about putting this on. Well, that's cut. Could have been a bit better. I've got a bit of a gap there, which we'll see if how the aluminium fits on that. But I've got a slight bow on this timber where I've stored it propped up, so I'll put the bow upwards, and hopefully that'll sink over time. That's worked quite well. Hinges are fixed, and the holes in these hinges are quite big, so I can put a little screw and a big washer, and I can wriggle that up and down so they hinge nice. And that seems quite good. So now I can mark the holes to get those spike nuts in. So like everybody else, I've replaced the boot floor. This is all stuff that I've made up. And this lip here is new. I think this is original, this I can't remember now. And I did that in 2 halves, so I got a little bit of tidying up to do there. But I had the foresight to, behind here is a reinforced plate to take the hinge, and I fitted those while the car was upside down and tapped them out. And I've got some, what are these, M4 maybe? Little M4 countersunk screws to go in there. I've just started to put these spike nuts in and they're quite proud, so I thought I'd have a look at the old one, and I've got the timber out of the aluminium. The only ones I've got to go on are these, and these are recessed. So I'll go back and I'll take those out and cut a hole for them. And I think I'll get away with using a spade bit, but I'll have to butcher this one and cut that spike down a little bit, else it'll make it too big a hole. Just tried that on a scrap and that seems to work alright. This is one of the old clips cleaned up, and this is the like a captive nut, if you like, and it's just got little dimples there and holes, and I didn't find any evidence of nails in there, but I will just I'll reuse those old ones, just drive that pin down those, because I've got to put all this together, put the aluminium on, and take them off, then paint it, then put them back on. And if these fail when putting it all back together, I'm buggered really. And of course, one thing leads to another. And this is the all that's left of the old wooden bit. One clip gone, another one there I've got to get off. And I've got some evidence there, that is, I think, for the grease gun. There's 2 little holes there. And that didn't come all the way through, so those were just screwed on, which I'm not very happy about that really. And the jack, I've looked in the books and those seem to be screwed on as well, which doesn't seem a very good idea to me, so I'll change that to a rivet or something, but of course I haven't got all the fittings, so that's all going to hold me up. So I've marked these holes from the aluminium. This is where these clips go that hold the lid down. So I've put a pilot through there, now I'm drilling from the back. So I've clamped a bit of scrap on the back there so that it doesn't burst through and splinter. That's what that looks like. Oh, that's a nice clean hole there. And I've used a 14mm spade bit for that. This is the second one I've removed, and this one, to be fair, was in better condition, and it is nailed, so that answers that question. Bit more woodwork, floorboards. This is the left hand side, so we've got the hole for the jacking point, fixing holes. These are accelerator, which I don't need on this side because I've swapped it over. And metal aluminium edging, quite oiled up. And we've got 4 fixings for the gearbox tunnel. That's the back of the accelerator. That's That's a heavier duty version of what you've got in the boot lid, bigger size. And a little slot here, that's for the handbrake lever, and that's an access hole for a body mount. And these are fixings to the steel floor and fixings onto the sill. I've tried this in. It's a little bit tight here because I've had a repair here, but it fits everywhere quite nice. So pretty much just a copy. Let's see if this works. This is, well, you know what this is. Very heavily corroded. I've scrubbed it and bashed off some of the crusty stuff. So we'll see how this citric acid works. I've got this container, filled it half with water. I don't know how much of this stuff I've put in, I can't remember. Let's try that much. So now it is 1 o'clock. So come back to that in a little while and see what's happening. And I've cleaned up all these bits. Those are very reusable again. And I've cleaned up the little clips as well. So I'll get this marked out. So marked out, all square cuts apart from this edge here, which is about 60 degrees, I would say, to fit up against the firewall. So this is the underside here we're looking at. That's all marked out. And I've just bodged a hole through there with a screwdriver and marked it so as I know what it is. But it seems on one of these clips missing, which I only removed 4 and there should be 5. So I'll have to find one of those. Right, all made. I'm going to put these on. So I thought I was missing one of these clips from here, but I'm not. This screws onto one of the, well, something a bit like this that's on the bulkhead gearbox tunnel bit. So I've got enough of those, although one of them was slightly dodgy that the pins are broken off. So I have my own version of that, which I can use. So tack it all on now. So that one's done. Worked out quite nice. That's my new clip, that went in alright. And here, where I thought there was one missing, there's actually 2 holes in my old floorboard. Whether that was a Jaguar thing or a previous owner thing, I don't know. So I put them both in, a choice of 2. This is my citric acid, and it's been in an hour and a half now, and it is taking that off. And I think if I put more stuff in, it would work quicker, but I'll just leave that for a good few hours, see what happens. Well, it's been 2 hours, and it is attacking it, and I'm pretty confident if I left that overnight that would do something. I'm going to put some more stuff in, and I've got this to go in as well. Which is pretty ropey, isn't it? I'll give it a bit of a scrub and drop that in. Update on the citric acid. This is an overnight soak, so I put this in at 1 o'clock yesterday and it's 8 in the morning. So 1 PM yesterday and it's 8 AM now. And really just an experiment really, because it would be much easier just to make a new one of these. But that was very crusty, and I've given it a wire brush, and that's got an awful lot of it off. I put that back in there, and all the rust is in the liquid there. And of course, be quick to shot blast it as well. But something like this, how do you shot blast under that central strap there? Well, you couldn't, could you? So this will. It's good for getting in nooks and crannies where you can't shot blast, you know, in between seams and stuff, and in between those 2 plates you couldn't shot blast. But that was in quite a state, and that's coming up quite nice. So I'll leave that a while longer. A bit more of the same. This is the right hand side, and even less of this left. I've got this straight edge here, which is good, but I'm missing this this oval cut out and so on. And I'm missing a little bit of aluminium here, but only 3 of these clips. I have to go and look on the gearbox tunnel because there's 4 on the other side. Make that up there, and I've got this from that side, but at the moment I'm missing the flat piece that this slots into. That might be a little job to make that. Yeah, gearbox tunnel. So there are 4 fixings, and I've got those 3, and then this corner is missing, and that looks like a sawn cut for some reason. And the aluminium's missing off there, which is a bit weird. So it's lucky I checked that, and we just add that corner onto the new floorboard. That's all my floorboards done, and this was just a mirror image of the other side, so that was okay, and these holes are as well, so that's all done. Extra bit of aluminium. I had to make up 3 clips because this is disintegrated, and an update on the citric acid. I'll show you before and after. And that's been in 24 hours now, something like that. And that one, I mean, just a sand up. I'll probably get these are quite crusty bits where it's sort of delaminating, flaking off. But very pleased with that. A little bit crusty on the back still. Not bad.